Been 324 years since the last major Cascadia subduction zone earthquake. A lot has changed since then, including the millions of yearly visitors and thousands who call the Washington coast home. This emission by FEMA's risk index could have massive impacts on how coastal communities get the funding to save lives and put thousands of people next to a ticking time bomb with nowhere to go.
There is nothing quite like the serenity of the Washington state coast. But 70 miles offshore, deep under the seafloor of the Pacific Ocean, a sleeping threat lies called the Cascadia subduction zone, a major fault line that will cause the biggest earthquake and ensuing tsunami our region has seen in centuries. This simulation shows in just 15 minutes after the earthquake begins, a massive wave hits the beaches, boardwalks, and waterfront property. Then schools, homes, and businesses inland. A wall of water and debris taking out everything in its path.
You can see how far in the inundation level goes.
Hannah Cleverly is the emergency manager for Grays Harbor County.
It just keeps going. It just keeps moving inland. It would be catastrophic.
Cleverly is a part of a group of emergency managers in the state questioning FEMA's latest National Risk Index, or NRI. They rely on maps like these for state and federal grants to build life-saving structures. The map looks at every county in the United States, assigning risk ratings to threats like landslides, wildfires, and winter weather. The problem is a threat that the Federal Emergency Management Agency seems to be ignoring. All of the Washington coastal counties were assigned relatively low to relatively moderate tsunami risk, even though some coastal cities would be buried underwater.
It would be catastrophic for Grays Harbor. It'd be catastrophic for Pacific County, Jefferson County, Clallam County, all of these counties that reside on the coast. It's going to be catastrophic for us.
This is a 10-foot pole. Now imagine these waves behind me on the south end of Westport. In a 9.0 subduction zone earthquake, those waves would be 50 feet tall, 5 times the height of this pole.
Oh, I would say the risk level is as high as you can get.
Chris Goldfinger works at Oregon State University.
So I do what's called submarine paleoseismology.
He studies ancient earthquakes along the Cascadia and San Andreas faults. Goldfinger contributes to an earthquake archive that goes back over 10,000 years. He says the next big earthquake will hit soon.
These are not theoretical things that, yeah, this might happen 20% sometime in the future. This could literally happen today. And if I was living in coastal Washington right now, I'd be beating the bushes to try to get towns and counties and the state prepared. Because we're not even close at this point.
According to Washington State's emergency management officials, 50 to 80 vertical evacuation structures like these need to be built. These buildings have multiple stairwells leading to a reinforced rooftop deck, built high enough, it's hoped, to stay above the water. There are only 2, with a third one approved last year. For many on the coast, as a tsunami approaches, these types of structures will be the only chance of survival. A recent bond measure failed in Grays Harbor County to fund vertical evacuation structures at schools in ocean shores. These structures cost millions, and it's more than local governments can take on themselves.
When there's only so much pot of money and, really who gets to make the final decision on who gets what, they're going to look at maps and they're going to look at hazards and the risk index.
If I were king and if I were the head of FEMA, I would pull the report and just take it off the air right away and revise it, make it match what's known about the science. Take it out of circulation until that can be done.
But FEMA says that's not part of the plan.
Casey, you got me okay?
Yep. Are you able to hear me okay?
In one of FEMA's first interviews about the NRI, we spoke with the lead manager of FEMA's National Risk Index in Washington, D.C.
A lot of the data and information that goes into modeling hazard loss and hazard loss information is not consistently available across the country.
The NRI's data only goes back to 1800, 100 years after the last major Cascadia earthquake.
We haven't seen a Cascadia event since 1700, so 324 years, which makes it really challenging to understand what the actual impacts would look like along the coast today.
Instead, the plan is to release an update at some point in the future after working with national tsunami hazard mitigation partners.
Is there a sense of urgency behind this work?
Absolutely. We always want to provide the best available data and resources for communities for planning. And, updating our tsunami hazard is one of our key components. It's one of our focuses in our next data release coming up.
FEMA would not give us a timeline for this release.
How big is your team, Casey?
It's a small team.
Can you tell me how big it is? I'm just curious.
There are 5 federal employees, just for reference. And the National Risk Index is not the only product and tool that we operate and maintain. We have several others within our portfolio that we manage.
Do you wish you had more?
Why suggest a bigger team? Well, right now, to update the NRI, those 5 employees have to crunch decades worth of historical disaster data, and to do it for every census tract in the United States, all 73,057 of them. This is a good reminder to know your evacuation routes when you're out on the coast. You may not have a lot of time to get to higher ground, and in many cases, it's going to be better to walk fast or run, not drive. In studio, Brian McMillan, Fox 13 News.